welcome to Trackside with Tom. I am here on my own today, flying solo. And you can hear me cracking open a Mountain Dew. But I am thrilled to see everyone that's here today. Always appreciate your support for the live streams, podcasting we're doing. And I see we have a pretty active chat going already today. Love to see that. Hello, Pork Belly. Hello, Tyler Hendricks. Tom LaFren. 101 Moose Fan. Love it. Some of these names are pretty awesome. Let's see here. Buddy Burton Photography. Love it. Yep. Good to see you as always. Oliver 1955. Who else have we got here? Oh, Jeffrey Fife 1210. Jason T1J. Riveted Railfan. We got some new friends and some old friends as well. LSRC 6437. Good to see all you guys. I'm not even going to try to pronounce that, but the one that ends in 8343. Good to see you as well. Stormy Sky Rail Productions. And Vaclav CSD Railway Channel. Good to see you guys. Oh, happy birthday to Tyler Hendricks. Good to see you as well. Happy birthday to you. It's actually my youngest son's 5th birthday today as well. So, birthdays all around. And we have, and pork jelly. So we have a pork belly and we have a pork jelly. Got it. Pork jelly 8678. All right. Well, fantastic, guys. Thank you all for tuning in today. Today's agenda, we are going to visit some of the Pacific Northwest railcams that we have in the network now. Because, quite honestly, since I've been offline, unable to do the podcast, we've added quite a few in that general neighborhood. So I'm starting out here as I switch us over to the Chehalis cam. And we are certainly thrilled to have Chehalis, Washington and the folks at the Chehalis Depot on board with our Steel Highway network. We are being hosted by the Lewis County Historical Museum. At this particular location, it is a restored depot. And right here we have BNSF double track going through this area. Also Union Pacific trackage rights. And I know that there's people in the chat here that can share a little more detail in terms of the kind of the frequency of the trains. There's a pretty extensive train log that's being kept at Chehalis. So always check that out. And I know that there has been an ongoing project to archive some of the old logs from the Chehalis webcam as well. So, we have a green BN rib-sided hopper there. That's something you don't see every single day. Pretty neat. So this is a northbound train going by Chehalis. We also have Amtrak. Excuse me. We also have Amtrak that goes by this location. The state-sponsored Cascade service, as well as the Pacific Surfliner. And those are two Amtrak services. There's quite a few Amtrak moves that go by here each day. Yes, BN Seattle sub with Union Pacific trackage rights. Thank you. Thank you, John Walsh. Definitely appreciate that. Who else have we got here in the chat? Oh, there goes one of those Amtrak. So let's just back this up just a little bit because it's kind of hard to see on the other side, but this is one of the sounder set, or not the sounders, the Cascade sets, where you've got 3 coaches, a P-42 powered on one end, and then a cabbage car on the other. So that's one of your Amtrak Cascades moves going southbound by Chehalis. But we are... Yes, Coast Starlight. Is that what I said? Did I say something else? I apologize if I made a mistake there. But yes, Amtrak Coast Starlight is also going by this location. Oh, that was the Amtrak 503. Got it. Thank you, Vaclav. Definitely appreciate that. So as this northbound BN train continues to go by, I do know there's a certain number of Union Pacific moves that go through here as well. I don't have an exact count on those, but one of the guys in the chat, I'm sure, can share that information with us. Oh, Nicholas Trains, good to see you. CNIA Division 99, yep, good to see you there. Thank you. It looks like we got about 40 people logged in live right now. This guy is really crawling. He must be coming down to make a meet potentially north of town. So the camera is swung around to the south right now, but it is not uncommon for trains to hold north of the depot and north of the crossing as they're waiting to make meets. There's a set of crossovers all the way down here beyond these 3 crossings. There's a set of crossovers and some signals. Got some empty well cars here on the rear of the train, and then a rear DPU as well. So anyway, yeah, this guy is slowing down significantly and makes me feel like he might be hanging out for a meet. And then also, seasonally, across the tracks from the depot here, there is a carrot harvesting facility, which at the end of the growing season, you'll see them loading up hoppers with carrots that have been grown in this area, and then having them cleaned and taken into the building to be processed. So that's kind of a neat little feature of this particular area. And I'm going to advance up to real time here just to give you, because Chehalis is 2 hours earlier from Central Time, which is where I am. So it's 11:09 right there in the morning. And we have our Amtrak board up across the top here, and all of the regular trappings of a steel highway site. However, there's also some maintenance way equipment. It looks like maybe a tamper and a ballast regulator over on this siding as well. Pardon me. So there must be some track work planned at some point. I have the volume off right now, but there is a defect detector nearby that can be heard very easily over the... can definitely be heard easily over the live stream, as the radio feed is incorporated with this live stream as well. So that's it for Chehalis. Definitely appreciate Robert Scott and Dale Skillingstad and Dave Norton and everyone else that has just put in a ton of work to make some of these Pacific Northwest sites a reality. We are going to jump next over to Olympia. So at Olympia, we have an actual Amtrak depot. Oh, and it looks like it's raining at Olympia. We're going to blow this up and then switch back over. So we are looking at the Olympia Amtrak platform right here. And we have a set of signals and a crossover just north of the depot. And I believe there's also a second set of crossovers and signals if we swing this around to the south as well. But yes, just a typical winter day in Washington that we're looking at right here. So this gets a lot of the same traffic that you'll see going by Chehalis, including all of the same Amtrak sets, but this is a little ways north of Chehalis. And I'll be the first to admit, you know, if the site at Chehalis had not happened, we wouldn't have the site at Olympia either. And so we definitely appreciate Dave Norton and all of his volunteers who help run the camera and staff the depot here at Olympia. Now, if we're looking at Olympia, this is looking north, and I am not, we're going to back this up a little ways because I did not have a timestamp. Oh, here it is. This is what I was looking for. All right. We're going to back it up to here, and we're going to see another one of these train sets. So this is looking south now, and this is the other crossover, the other set of signals on the far side. CJ Compton, yes, hello. Good to see you. So we have another one of these Amtrak, state-sponsored Amtrak sets coming in. It is P42, 3 coaches, and a cabbage car, which you're going to see is a very common setup for this particular service. The Amtrak 186 leading the way, and then the 9230 is the rear, on the rear, and then we aren't going to be able to get the car numbers off of those coaches. However, that is, you're literally watching him pull right up to the depot. We got all kinds of fun stuff. It looks like, yeah, I'm going to back this up a little bit, but we have, oh, it was right on the tail of that train also. Well, that's fascinating. All right, so now we're going to go back. We're going to roll the whole train by. All right, so you can see how this guy's got a high green. We got a high green here, and we've got a train going by the platform. So what have we got? It looks like three GEs, 4 GEs leading the way. We're going to see him knock down this signal and then proceed onward. Why doesn't Olympia, Washington... Well, it's not the only cam that doesn't have a live chat. However, it does not have a live chat because of the request of the people at the Olympia Depot. And I am here to tell you that we try to do our best to respect the wishes of the hosts that we're working with. And so the recommendation that's always been given, and I believe it's even listed in the description of the live feed, is that if you want to talk about the trains going by Olympia, jump over the Chehalis chat, because you're seeing a lot of the same traffic there anyway. And that's where we'd like to see people participate in the chat. I'm pretty sure this is the same train that we rolled by Chehalis the first time, because I remember that green BN car, or green rib-sided BN hopper. We got some center beam flats in the middle of the train. I'm pretty confident this is the same train. that that we just rolled by. So we'll skip ahead a little bit here before we move on. But I definitely want to see, as we keep skipping, there's some potash cars, some of the Richardson potash cars. We have definitely seen. Oh yeah, thank you, Buddy Burton, for confirming that. And Grandpa Rails, hello, good to see you. Yeah, those Richardson potash cars or something. Yeah, here's the rear of the train. There's that empty well pack, and then the 7508 bringing up the rear. It does look like that they're getting ready for a tie project on that far main as well. So you can see now where the train has cleared, and now we've got maintenance way coming up behind them. A high rail, and we'll see what's coming up next. Yeah, we're looking back to the north. And what we will see is that and we don't have the radio feed on, but I'm guessing these guys have track and time authority to not foul the main ahead of the train that just went by. All kinds of BNSF people here today. But as this train clears to the north, here comes the second high rail following him up. And then shortly behind that, we're going to see some maintenance away equipment roll by as well. So this has turned into a pretty unique setup here. I'm glad we got to get this roll by and to be able to get all the equipment going by as well. So as this guy continues north, we're going to be able to see so BNSF truck turning around over on the side. And he is off of the track, but then we got high rails on each main, northbound that just went by. And there goes the ballast regulator. So, all kinds of activity at the Olympia Lacey location today. So now that we've got that all out of the way, I do want to again say thank you to everyone that has made this location possible and all the volunteers, because I know they don't just sit there and run the cameras at Olympia. They have the volunteers there to actually serve the public and greet passengers and everything else that's going on. Everything else that goes on with, running an Amtrak depot. So definitely appreciate all of the hard work that those volunteers do in order to make sure that the patrons have a good experience when they visit the Olympia Lacey depot. All right. Next up, we are going to go to Ritzville. Ritzville Railcam. Right there. So Ritzville, Washington is quite a ways off to the east. It's really much more in, I don't know if you consider it central Washington or eastern Washington. But this is a really neat location. It is in another, this one is another former depot. And as you see now, they have some really cool pieces of equipment. They've got this caboose restored that's sitting here, and the semaphore, which actually operates. And about, I don't know, a couple weeks ago, they actually did a afternoon where the semaphore was operated in conjunction with the passing trains. And I know that the guys at Ritzville were really proud of this, so I think that it was really well received. I got some good feedback from it that people were really impressed. So I'm glad that that worked out, and I know that they were really proud of being able to show off their operational semaphore. So now at Ritzville, this is a single main with a siding, and we have in fact found a different train. This is not the same train for the third time, in case you were concerned about that. We have in fact found a different train going through Ritzville. This is on the Empire Builder route as well. So you get the Empire Builder, which runs from Chicago to Spokane as a single unit. And then at Spokane, it splits to go either to the Seattle leg or the Portland, Oregon leg. And so this is on the southern route. This is on the part of the Empire Builder that goes to Portland. And look at that, more of those green BN hoppers. Apparently they're all over in Washington. So that is something that you do get Amtrak through here. It comes through very early in the morning when it's on schedule. It goes through local time, I believe, about 5 a.m. There's some BNSF refrigerated boxcars. This area of Washington and Oregon, very, very produce oriented in their farming. Lots of frozen vegetables that come out of this area, just like the carrot plant that we saw over at Chehalis earlier. And so a lot of that is loaded into refrigerated boxcars and moved east. But yes, lots of frozen vegetables, frozen produce that gets loaded up and taken to distribution centers and eventually to supermarkets where you can buy it off the shelf. What else do we have here? I think we're getting close to the end of the train on this particular. Did anybody have an ID on this train? I don't know if anyone was paying that close attention. I don't think that there's a log for Ritzville. But definitely have a rear DPU, and now they have cleared. So thank you to our hosts. Brian Bothan is definitely the contact there at Ritzville. Definitely appreciate having this location. And as you can see over in the corner too, we have Emerge Technologies, which is supplying the internet. So thank you everyone for, and thank you to those two at least, for helping to support this webcam location. Now, we are going to move on to our newest location in Washington, which is Vader, Washington. This is another one that Robert Scott and Dale both went out to install. And by all accounts, it seems that the folks that run the restaurant at Vader have been very impressed with the patronage that they've gotten since having the webcam installed. So we definitely appreciate everyone going out to support our host locations. And in this case, we're going to see a northbound here in a moment. I might have backed up a little bit too far. But again, rain in Washington. typical winter time. And we'll see how far I have to skip ahead to actually get those gates to come down. Sometimes you will see trains that'll park kind of right on that curve. But it looks like this guy is just blasting straight through. This is a pretty significant uphill grade going from right to left across the screen. And we have a train coming up the hill on the left-hand main. So what do we have here? What do we have for a leader, and what do we have for... So we've got 3 units. Oh, you can almost see the silver in the trucks on that last one. Empty well cars on the head end. Let me just tell you that as having lived the former life that I have, seeing those empty well cars on the head end always gives me anxiety. I have no idea if these hoppers are loaded. I can't tell if the springs are up or down on them or what the tonnage is on this train, but man, those empty well cars really ought to be somewhere else. So as we're going north here, it looks like there was quite a few private hoppers on the head end. We've got just a general manifest train here. Empty center beam flats, some more hoppers, long string of tanks it looks like. Can't make out for sure what the markings are on the side of the tank, but these really look like anhydrous tanks based on the catwalks across the top. These are more back into standard tank cars now. A couple of high cube boxes and some more center beam flats. So the Vader, it's the Tracks Bar and Grill is the location at Vader. And you can actually see this is a little bit of their parking lot and a little bit of their building you can see over on the right. But the folks at the Tracks Bar and Grill have been fantastic to work with. And I really appreciate the fact that they are giving us positive feedback and saying lots of people are checking out this location, patronizing the host, because that's exactly what we want to see. Whenever there's a Steel Highway webcam at a location where either it's a museum or a business or a historical society or whatever it is, we want you guys to get out and patronize those businesses as well. So thank you for doing that, and thanks for giving the folks at Vader a really pleasantly surprising experience where they're getting a lot of walk-in traffic and people stopping in there to watch trains go by. So we definitely appreciate that. So I'm going to go next over to Jervis, Oregon. This is a webcam that some guys put up in town, and then they made the decision to come over and join Steel Highway, which we always love that. And it gives them some extra visibility for their webcam. And it also gives rail fans an ability to see a location that they otherwise might not see. So this is Jervis, Oregon. And this is along a UP line in Jervis, Oregon. And I do believe that some of these UP trains that go through Jervis end up also passing the Vader and Chehalis and Olympia webcams as well. So this is one of these places where It's a really good heads up location for traffic coming up from the south. This is the Union Pacific Brooklyn sub here. And let's see here. Let's get caught up on our comments. What do we have? Empty cars for South Seattle Terminal. Thank you, Vaclav. Always appreciate that. CN's brand new sesquicentennial locomotive should pass Flossmoor Cam today. Well, that's exciting. Always good to know. What else? As we go back and get cracking on the previous comments. CPKC tie project from Lake to Dubuque. Thank you, Buddy Burton. Griffith Cam. Yeah, there's been a lot of interesting things that have gone by the Griffith Cam. So we definitely always appreciate that. CJ Compton, thank you for the super chat. Definitely love that. And I'm sending a little bit of love back your way as well. The upcoming Railcam location. Well, I don't have anything that I can specifically share at the moment. I'll tell you, the last 2 weeks for sure have been much more focused on getting cameras back online that have been offline for a while. Last weekend, for instance, Evan Weber made a trip up into Wisconsin, and he was gracious enough to get a stop made in Wisconsin Dells, so we could get the narrow gauge camera back online at Wisconsin Dells, and then also to get the radio feed going at Wapaka, and replacing a server in Neenah so that webcam does not keep shutting itself down multiple times every day. So thank you, Evan, for doing all of that. I am not finding any trains at Jervis, so I'm just gonna have to pass on that for the moment. I'm sorry. But we're definitely going to get get as many of those cams back online as we possibly can. All right, I am going to switch this off for a minute. So we've gone to Chehalis and Olympia and Ritzville and Vader. And is there anywhere else that I'm missing? I think that's our 4 cameras. Oh, and Jervis so 5 cams up in the Pacific Northwest. So I think that's pretty much it for these locations. So we are going to change gears a little bit, and we're going to go over to State Center. And I'll give you a little bit of the story behind the State Center Railcam. So, as everyone I think here is aware, we had a camera location in Ames for close to 2 years. And here is State Center. We had a camera location in Ames for close to 2 years. And that camera location, unfortunately, has ceased to exist because the owners of the building have sold it, and they moved their business to a different location because they did not need rail service anymore. And, oh, look at this. So we're actually going to get... Patrick Shea actually sent me a message the other day about how much he enjoys watching Z trains blast through State Center at high speed. And that's exactly what we're going to get right here. So, anyway. Oh yeah, look at that. Cruising along Got one of the long hood doors open. But this would be an eastbound at State Center. He's actually running on the correct main for CNW standards. And we're going to see him fly through State Center for the next minute or two. So all the equipment from Ames had to be pulled prior to January 1st because of the business moving and the change of the new owners are leasing the building out to someone else, and they didn't want to deal with the webcam. So we do not have a Ames webcam anymore. However, I had been working with the State Center Historical Society for a while, and when I found out the camera equipment had to move, then this was an obvious choice for where to take it next. So all the equipment from the Ames webcam has been moved now to the State Center webcam. And it's literally all of the same equipment being reused in just a new location. And I don't know, what are they? 20 miles apart? 25, if that? So we get to see much of the same traffic that went through Ames. Not all the same traffic, but much of the same traffic that went through Ames. And we get this all in the State Center location now. And yes, this eastbound Z train is just absolutely flying. It's actually shaking the webcam, if you can tell that. It's literally shaking the webcam because of the buffeting that's created with the force of the speed of all the rail cars going by. So we no longer have an Ames location, but we now have a State Center location. And I'm going to take this opportunity to also tell you, well, and there's some mid-train DPUs as well. We also no longer have our Manly location. So you might say that Steel Highway is a little less manly, I suppose, but that's probably just a bad joke that I didn't need to make. But the Manly, Iowa location has also come to an end because the Sabin family was running a museum, a small museum out of the former grocery store where that webcam location is present. And then they took all of their stuff and they moved it to their new museum location, which is west of town. And actually, there's some really neat videos of the E units and the GP7s and everything else that got moved out to the new location on the west side of Manly. So, because we don't have that location anymore, that equipment is going to be taken down as well. And I'm sure I'll find somewhere else to put it back up eventually, but for the moment, it's just getting taken down. So, for Manly, that location is no longer, but we do want to thank the Sabin family for hosting us at that location for the time that they did. And there's the end of our Z train. Actually, that wasn't a Z train. It didn't have any piggybacks. It doesn't have any trailers on flat car on the rear of the train. So we'll go back here a little bit further and hopefully catch another train, which I think we're going to find here very shortly. So we definitely want to thank the Sabin family for hosting us for the time that they did in Manly. And I know that for many rail fans, that camera greatly assisted the final days of the Iowa Northern and chasing that around. So I'm glad that we were able to have that for the time that we did. Thank you also to our former host, Skies Cole, in Ames, because that was the location of our former 24 hours of rail fanning in Ames that we did when around the time that I was in college. And that was always a fun experience as well. We have another eastbound container train going through State Center here. So I definitely wanted to make sure that everybody knows how and why those things came to pass and what exactly the rationale was behind having, having those locations. In one case, the location changed. In the other case, the location just went completely offline. Let's see here. Let's get caught up on some comments again. Again, CJ Compton, thank you for the super chat. Definitely appreciate that. Plans to restore Northern Flossmoor? Yes, definitely. Are there plans for a new host location in Albion, Michigan? No, but Adrian should be coming back online. Hopefully, basically as soon as possible. We should be getting Adrian back online if that's what you're trying to ask about. Yes, nice to hear from you as well. Watch the Super Bowl. No, I did not spend any time watching the Super Bowl last night. Are you guys hiring? Great question. I only wish I had the ability to hire somebody to do half of the things that I want done. But no, Steel Highway is not hiring at this time. Did you mean the north side of Manly where the museum is located now? Yeah, I guess northwest maybe be the best way to put it. You may want to check out Depot Bar and Grill in Faribault for an Albert Lee subcam. Yes, there is actually also I believe the Milwaukee Road Depot in Albert Lee, which has a view of the diamond of the UP and the CPKC, I believe. So that would be another possibility. It'd be the CPKC Jackson sub and then the UP Albert Lee sub. So that would certainly be a possibility as well. But yes, I am actively looking for a replacement for that Manly camera equipment, and I just don't know where it's going to go. The Albert Lee sub, that runs from, so the Albert Lee sub runs from South St. Paul to Albert Lee, and then, to Mason City. And then it's the Mason City sub from Mason City down to Des Moines. And then as you're continuing south on the UP, it's Trenton sub from Des Moines down to Polo. And then double main with the CPKC going into the northeast side of Kansas City. So that's what those three subdivisions, the Albert Lee, Mason City, and Trenton, make up what the CNW would refer to as, oh, look at this. We got another one going by. Hang on a second. What have we got here? So I believe these are both SD40Ns is what the UP is calling them. The 1825 and 1350. Wait, is that second one was a 4-axle. So that's probably, let me think, the 1350, is that a Jeep 38? But anyway, so we've got all kinds of interesting stuff on this second train going by. The first thing is that immediately stuck out to me was this SD40N, the 1825. And then, yeah, Jeep 40-2. And then we've got all of these former Amtrak boxcars on the head end, which it makes me wonder if those are going off lease somewhere. I know that the UP had some of these stored for a while. Yeah, ex-Amtrak boxcars. This is fascinating. I wonder if this is what they call it, the BOBO, which is the Boone to Marshalltown Freight. And it's just a local. Yeah, that's kind of a short train, too. I don't know for sure. But I think that's that BOBO that works between Boone and Marshalltown. So, anyway, that's State Center, and that's a little bit of an update on the cameras that we have that are currently offline and the ones that have either been moved or retired. All right. The last thing that we're going to go to today is probably the next biggest thing in railfan watching, which is the two North Platte cameras. And I'll tell you, first off, when the guys at North Platte came to me and said, hey, we've got these Railcams, or we got these cameras, they're not being streamed right now, would you be interested? I was immediately very, very interested. This is a situation where the North Platte Golden Spike Tower was, in fact, live streaming these cameras previously to a website that they operate. And then they, for whatever reason, they stopped streaming to the website. They came to me and asked if they could stream on the YouTube channel and then put the embedded links to their website, which I said, absolutely. That would be fantastic. So, needless to say, these cameras, the two cameras at the North Platte Bailey Yard, have just been phenomenally popular. And I really can't thank you guys enough for tuning in and checking this out. I do want to thank Bruce, who has been my contact at the North Platte Tower. And I would definitely recommend, if you have the opportunity to get out here and check this place out, it is amazing. And secondly, also Mike Zucker at Spring Creek Model Trains, because they got us the webcam location in Belvedere basically a year ago, and now he was the one that actually recommended to the folks at North Platte that they should stream through Steel Highway as well. So I'm eternally grateful to the Zuckers over at Spring Creek Model Trains at the same time. But there is literally so much to see on this camera. Just in the frame of view that we have right here. And I don't know if you guys can see my cursor or not. Oh, hello, Tyler. Good to see you. We've got part of the diesel shop down here in the lower left. We've got the bowl tracks taking up most of the center of the frame. And we've actually got, it looks like some loads of pipe maybe, that are rolling down into the bowl as we speak. You know, many of these bowl tracks are in fact pretty well filled up, it looks like. There's still a few empty tracks here and there. And then if you look to the top left, you can see there's some ready power waiting. And then you've also got the switch power, which is a kind of a combination of Jeep 40s, SD38s, SD40s. And then you've got the overpass that the engines use to get around the yard, or from one side of the yard to the other, without having to cross the, without having to actually cross the main lines. And then the mains go underneath the bridge. And it's kind of tough to make out, but right up here in the top center, the mains go underneath the bridge, and you can see where there's some trains parked on the main out there right now. You got a couple of fuel tanks over here on the side, and you've got your hump tower, and then this little thing, which is, I've heard referred to as a scoreboard before, which basically just has a rolling list of car numbers, and then the pin puller knows where to pull the pins based on the cars, the car numbers that are being shown to him. And then we're going to switch over to the east camera. The east camera is actually on a tour, and it's going to bounce around on us a little bit. But we're going to go over and look at the east camera right now as well. And I'll admit, I don't know all of these locations by heart, but we're just going to follow the tour around a little bit. I do know that we're looking at this. So this is a run-through track. And then there's other run-through tracks over here as well. This might be eastbound run-through, and this is westbound run-through. And then we have a hopper train sitting over here as well. A couple of either SD40s or SD38s tied onto a cut that's probably going to get shoved over the hump next. So just non-stop traffic. You know, there's a lot of people that have told me, like, I could just watch the hump tower go all day. And I totally get that, because I think it's such a fascinating operation here. So, let's get over here and catch up with our comments again. Let's see. Very helpful. All right, so, oh, here we see some more. This might be deadline power, actually, on the UP. This one for sure looks like it was on fire at one point. Either an exhaust fire or dynamic brake grid fire, one of the two. We got a crane over here, bunch of maintenance way equipment. All right. Very helpful to get a cam on the southern end of the Canadian National Waukesha sub to get a heads up on northbound traffic. Silver Lake area of Coach Yard area. Yeah, I agree. That'd be a fantastic location. You get it far enough south, you get a bunch of metro traffic as well, which would be neat. Would be cool to have a camera on the UP Trenton sub. Absolutely. I do believe that's directional running. Yes, Amtrak boxes, Jeep 40-2. Yeah, Trenton sub is all southbound freight. Yes, and that's pretty much, yeah. It's northbound on the Falls City sub, southbound on the Trenton sub. And then as the camera moves again, we're actually looking at the other hump, the east hump from here. Okay, back to the comments. Union Station in Kansas City, Missouri. Yes, that also very busy place. Would be a fantastic location. Yeah, okay, so sure, there's always exceptions, right? Like, there's locals out there, there's there's exceptions to the southbound rule, and certainly in times where there's derailments or flooding or anything else, the UP is going to run trains in both directions. Without hesitation, yes. If you have traffic both ways south of Carlisle, then possibly directional, but not so sure. Yes, thank you, Dave Kroger. Good to see you here this afternoon. Rail stream camera for the Amtrak Michigan line. Yeah, it would be nice. Tyler and Dave, good to see you guys. 50 engines around the yard was amazing. Yes, there is always something going on at North Platte. That is right. UP loco with doors open by the fuel racks. Yeah, I'm sure that they're servicing locomotives over by the... I'm sure that they're servicing locomotives in the fuel area as well. Yes. Z train going east. Yep, Winton Place around Cincinnati. That'd be another good location. Appreciate the suggestion. So, this is pretty much it for today. I definitely appreciate everybody logging on and watching Trackside with Tom with us. And we will be back again next Monday. And we will have a few more locations, new locations that we have not featured since the last time that I have done these programs regularly. So in the meantime, enjoy your rail fanning, and we will see you guys around in the not too distant future. Have a fantastic rest of your afternoon.